SkyHigh Radio. It's about you and the music.
I'm pleased to welcome to SkyHigh Radio a young man who is a singer-songwriter from Gillingham. He made a name for himself when he appeared on the popular TV show The Voice in 2014. The young man I speak of is, of course, Jamie Johnston. Hello, Jamie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Before I get started, I always like to ask some quick-fire questions in the style of the old Smash Hits magazine. Obviously, like me, you're far too young to remember Smash Hits. Apparently, this is a magazine back in the 80s and 90s that asked stupid questions to pop stars of the day. So this is my take on that. What time did you get up this morning?
8 o'clock.
What time did you go to bed last night?
1 o'clock.
What was the last thing you watched on TV?
Human Planet.
What's your favourite meal to cook?
Ooh, chicken curry.
Chinese or Indian?
Chinese.
Cooked breakfast or cereal?
Chocolate hoops if it's for cereal, but I do like a cooked breakfast.
Favourite animal?
An elephant.
Newspaper or a book?
I love the sun.
Favourite TV show?
At the moment, Human Planet.
Rice or pasta?
Rice.
Favourite film?
Favourite film? A film called Fundamentals of Caring.
Favourite chocolate bar?
Galaxy.
Shower or bath?
Shower.
Morning person or night owl?
A bit of both.
Slide or swing?
Swing.
Finally, on my radio show, I do a thing called the Great British Cake Scoff, where instead of baking cakes, I tend to scoff them. So what's your favourite cake to scoff?
It would be a chocolate cake.
Fantastic. So now the serious things.
Okay.
Serious questions, if you would be serious.
It's a good icebreaker.
It is. So you was 90 when you applied for The Voice. What singing experiences do you have before that?
Oh, blimey. So I realised I wanted to start singing since I was a kid, but I got to about 14, 15 and I said, I really want to do this as a career. So I started doing all the pubs and the clubs and things like that. And then I got to a stage where I just didn't know what to do next. And I was watching The Voice when Jessie J was on it a year before I went on. And I applied for it just because my mum said, you should apply for it, go for it. And I did, and a year had gone by, I'd forgot I'd applied for it, and I got an email the night before saying, don't forget your voice audition tomorrow. And I went to the voice audition and travelled up and queued up with 50,000 people outside I think it was the Hilton at the time, at Wembley.
Okay.
So before The Voice, doing lots of gigs and lots of songwriting, and I actually released an album before The Voice, and that sold 1,000 copies when I was I worked at Costa Coffee in Mid-Kent College, and my manager used to just she probably wasn't meant to, but and she was great, but she used to let me sell the CD at the Costa, and so when someone bought a coffee, I used to say, oh, you've got to buy an album. So that was how it sort of first started.
Fantastic. So before we see you on the blind audition on The Voice, did you have auditions prior to that? Obviously you spoke of the one at Hilton, but
so I think I was either 18 or 19 when I went for it, and it shows how long it takes, because when it was aired I was 19, so there was a good sort of 6 months to a year worth of auditions before the blind audition. And there was probably about eight auditions, I would say, beforehand. Just so many. I think it was about 3 auditions on the first day at the Hilton, and then after that you go back and you go back to the Joint in London, the rehearsal studio, and then you go there and just rehearsed it and auditioned with producers and stuff. So a lot of auditions.
And for your blind audition you picked Sick, Neo.
So Sick.
Why did you pick that?
Well, you send them a big list of songs and then they sort of whittle them down to which one you should do. So this was the biggest issue. Not the biggest issue, that sounds bad. This was the biggest thing with the public when they watched the show. Why did you sing that song was the question I got a lot on the ones that I wasn't over keen on doing. And it was basically because you don't actually get to choose them. You know, the ones that I wasn't feeling too strong on, I didn't even really get to choose them. They were just sort of given to you, which wasn't a bad thing, I suppose. But yeah, So Sick, I picked it with a load of other songs, and then that was the one they said I should do. So that was how it come around. And it was just because no one else had done one like that. I thought I'd be able to put a bit of a swing on it. So
You're singing away.
Singing away.
No one's chair's turned.
Yeah.
How are those nerves feeling at that particular point?
Well, all you see the back of 4 chairs and feet dangling. You don't see any arms because the chairs are so big.
Yeah.
So they're obviously sat there and their feet Kylie's feet didn't touch the floor, so they had to make her a box to stand on and be able to keep it so her legs would touch the box instead of the floor. But before she got the box, which was further on in the show, her feet were just swinging at the thing, which was really cool. And that's all I remember seeing. I was just standing there. There's a good 30 seconds before the track starts, because it's a live band. So it's a good 30 seconds, which is a long time when you're standing on stage. And there's about 400 people in the audience, and just feet dangling, hoping for a turn. And it felt like forever before anyone turned round. So, and the first one to turn around was Kylie, so had to go with her.
And then followed by Rick, or Ricky.
Ricky, yeah.
And then Sir Tom, at the end.
Yeah.
So why Kylie? Why did you choose Kylie?
Well, there was a bit of, I don't know if cleverness is the right word. There was tacticalness, is that even a word? But there was a certain tactic to it, and also because it was her first time on the show, and it was my first time on the show. I was actually, the way it was shown on TV, looked like I was 2-3 weeks into the show before I got a turn, but actually recording-wise, filming-wise, I was her first turn.
Okay.
So I was actually her first turn and the last person on the team, which I didn't know at the time, obviously. So she turned around for me. I went on second out of all of the people who auditioned on the actual blind audition part. So she had turned around and she was the first person to turn. It's Kylie Minogue. She has an incredible online social media following, and I just really like her. I just think she's really nice, and I think a lot of other people were going for Ricky and Tom, so I went for Kylie.
You've already said during the auditions that your song was kind of selected for you. Is that the same throughout the series? Did you get any input, or was it all?
Yeah, you sort of suggest the songs. You suggest a few songs. So I remember suggesting I Can't Make You Love Me, Sex on Fire, So Sick, along with probably another 20 other songs.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to sing I Can't Make You Love Me in the final, because it was the strongest song for me. I wanted to sing that in the final, but they said no, do it in the semi-final, and that's when I sort of thought, oh, okay, this is a bit odd. When it's my strongest song, I should, I'm going to save it for the final if I make it to the final. But they wanted me to sing it in the semi-final instead, so which was fine. Which means I didn't get to sing a stronger song in the final, but so I just went with what they said.
Did you get her phone number? Kylie's, that is.
No.
No. So you couldn't sit there and think, I wonder what Kylie's doing right now, and pick up the phone. Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah. Oh, she's calling. No, she's not.
So you made the final and was runner-up. Once the show is over, do you get help and advice from the production team or any support like that afterwards, saying, this is what you should do now with your career to move forward? Do they help you in that way, or is it just like, bye-bye?
It's, however lovely they are, because this isn't anything against them, because The Voice really helped me out a lot, and it's incredible, and the producers and everyone is lovely, but it is very much, no, you're on your way.
Okay.
So we went to the after party after the final that night, and then when we were there, they said, by the way, you've got to be out of your apartment at 10 a.m. and that was it. After that, I'd never heard from them again.
Oh, okay.
So apart from, I did have some interest from record labels and managers, which that was totally separate to the BBC and The Voice.
Yeah.
So no, straight after, it's more or less what it is. It's done. Yeah, it's bye. So.
What's your best memory from The Voice?
Best memory by far is because it's got a little bit of a story to it. There's two. Sorry, I'll probably go on a bit, but there's Kylie Minogue was owed a favour by Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
Because Justin Timberlake had done a favour for her or something. So the return favour was, I want to bring Jamie Johnston to come and see you at the O2, but also I want him to sing with you on stage and play with the band and perform with the band. So Yeah,
That's quite good.
That was cool, yeah. And then the other part of the story is, on the way there, it was part of a surprise, and this is a bit of a jokey one. Kylie gets into her Bentley, and this is a bit of a joke that I say at all my gigs. Kylie gets in the Bentley, and I'm blindfolded, but I know I'm about to go into the Bentley.
Yeah.
And they sit me in the Bentley, because it was all a surprise at this point. They sit me in the Bentley, they're filming it, and then all of a sudden, they get me back out the Bentley drives off. They put me in a taxi, and I just follow that. And then when we get there, they take me out the taxi, put me back in the Bentley, so it looks like on camera that I travelled with her in the Bentley, but I didn't say. And I don't think that was her, though, at all. I think it was more the production team and things like that, certain privacy. So, yeah, she's really cool. Yeah, she's lovely.
What does the future hold for Jamie Johnston?
Well, I straight after the show, I was still 19, 20,
yeah.
And I really didn't know what to do. I kept thinking, I was probably slightly immature and didn't really know what to do next. And I was just thinking, I won't do anything because someone has snapped me up, which is just a load of rubbish. It doesn't happen. So what I ended up doing, I ended up starting to record an EP, release the EP. That went well, but it wasn't the music I want to do. If I listen back to it now, I think, it's really not. It was recorded well, but it's not what I want to do, the sound-wise. So I'm now working on music I actually want to sing and things like that. I'm working with really professional musicians and just trying to get my sound together and releasing some new music. So.
And when do you think that's going to be? When do you think the new music is coming out?
It'll be next year. Early next year. We're writing at the moment, and we'll be recording the demos to then send off to some labels. And
you say we're writing. Who do you write with?
I'm writing with a gentleman called Tim Pettingale, who's a guitarist, and a saxophone player called Gary Barnacle.
Oh, Gary Barnacle. We
Barnacle.
know him.
You know Gary Barnacle?
Take that, saxophone player.
He's played for a few people, yeah.
Showing me age now, even though I'm only 25. So how do you go about writing your songs?
Well, I used to really struggle. I used to really struggle writing a melody and things like that. But what I do now is I might be listening to someone else's song where I like the sound of it, and then I'll sing a melody of my own over the top and then record it, and then send that off to Gary and Tim, and then they'll write some music to it or write some melodies, instrumental melodies. Or what happens is, Tim might come up with an idea on guitar, record it roughly on his phone or on the computer, and then send it to me. And then I'll just spend a day writing to it or writing some melodies, because I think it's all about having that catchy chorus, and I think that's one thing that lots of people know. And it's all good sitting in the studio with a producer, like a producer who's going to play everything themselves and software. But I don't think there's anything like sitting with two musicians and really writing it from scratch and doing it very raw, because it's all about finding a song. I really want to be, if I'm going to go for it, I want to try and really go for it. I want to go for the whole cake instead of half the cake. So
you've performed a song for us today called Get It. Give it.
Get it right.
I assume that's one of your songs?
Yeah, I wrote that. That was off of the first EP, and I wrote that probably maybe 3 years ago now, and I wrote that with a few friends, and I wrote all the lyrics because I don't play much guitar, but I play enough to write the song to. Yeah. So I wrote all the lyrics, and it's all about being with someone. The song is about being with someone who you thought they would support you, but actually they just don't want you to really do your thing, and you don't want to give them all your heart if they're not going to support you.
Absolutely. Neither should you. Oh dear. Does the fact that you've been on The Voice make it easier or harder for you to go to a record producer, record company, label, and say, here's my music?
Yeah.
Do you want it?
It's a really good question. The pros and cons to it, to any of these shows, The Voice, the X Factor and stuff, I think The Voice is, personally, I think it's slightly more credible as a singer, because I think you have to, with X Factor, sometimes you don't have to be able to sing to get far on it, because it's a entertainment purposes, you know, and they also get bookings and stuff from being maybe funny. So The Voice, I think it's more credible. So when it comes to gigging, it's a lot easier to get gigs, because you can say I was on The Voice, or if sometimes they already know you and they'll say, okay, yeah, come and gig for us, and getting weddings and function gigs and stuff like that is a lot easier. I think when it comes to record labels, I think sometimes it can be a slight burden on. I think that the shows can be sometimes a bit of a burden, because you're always going to be the guy from that show, or the girl from that show. So I think it's trying to rebrand and slightly forget it, but not forget it, if that makes sense. I think it's just trying to make a new sort of story for yourself and put it out there with new music and things. So I think the music talks a lot.
Absolutely. So what dreams do you have going forward? Number one album, number one single?
Yeah, I think all of that.
Big tour?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Ian Ritchie's radio show?
That's my one. No, I think it's I think I just, if I can carry on singing, then I know it sounds really cheesy, but I just like talking to people and singing and things like that. And if I can make a living from it, and if I could, at the moment it's my full-time job, you know, but I'm making my living from the functions and things like that, which is great, because obviously I get to sing, but it would be brilliant if I could make my living from my own music. So if I could do the same thing that I'm doing at the moment, but instead of doing a function gig, I can do a festival and sing my own songs with my own band, and that's what I would like to do. That's cool. My dream is to just have people singing my songs back at a big festival.
I'm sure it'll happen one day.
I hope so, hopefully.
You live in Gillingham?
Yeah, I did live in Gillingham.
But does that mean that you support the local football team? I do.
I can't stand football.
Oh,
really
there you
sorry,
go.
Can't stand
Forget
football.
about that question then. You're having a dinner party?
Yeah, I'm having a dinner party.
You're having a dinner party. Yeah. Invite any three people you like. Alive or dead, who would they be? Okay, well, you'd have to come along. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I'd be the entertainment.
You can be the entertainment.
I'd be the joker, the clown.
I would have the three people, genuinely. I would have my... Oh, three people's difficult, you know.
I know.
I'd probably just have my...
Seconds go into writing these questions, I'll tell you. Seconds.
Okay, I would have my dad, my granddad, and probably a singer that we all like. So then we can all sit and have a chat with him.
But who would that be?
I would like to say... I'm trying to think of someone that my granddad would know as well. Well, that's a difficult one. Maybe someone like George Michael.
George Michael.
Yeah, George Michael.
He's a good singer. And you'll be able to sing his rendition of his song to him.
Yeah, and I think I like... My dad listens to a lot of music and radio. And he was saying he was listening to George Michael on the radio a few years ago. And he was saying about that, you know, I'm still doing the gig. This is what George Michael was saying. I'm still doing my own songs and gigging, but there's a lot of people out there who can pay him a lot of money to go and sing at their functions, you know, because they've obviously got a lot more money than, you know, the stars have. So there was a lot of interesting facts that he was saying, which were really interesting, and I'd love to. It'd be good to, even if it wasn't him, but you know, me, my dad, and my granddad sat there listening to someone sort of giving tips to me and how I could, what to do next, you know. So
finally, what can you never leave your house without?
Well, the normal one would be like my phone or something like that. But the one that I've really, there's a bit of a story to it. Me and my partner Joe, we got given a Caravan by my cousin. And we'd done it all up, and we towed it. It was the first time I towed a Caravan, apart from when I towed it back from Norwich, where they live. I towed it down to Barcelona. Okay. And on the way home, we broke down on a mountain because we were gigging all our way down. And then on the way home, we broke down on a mountain in Lyon, in France. And the gentleman come and picked us up, and we took the Caravan. He said, "You've got," in a French accent, he said, "You've got 5 minutes to clear your caravan out because you're not going to get it back for months. So, okay. And Joe's in the caravan. She said, Jamie, and all she done was poke her head out the door and said, can you live without this? And it was my hairdryer. And I said, no, I've got to take that. So probably my hairdryer. If I was going away, it's got to be a hairdryer. Yeah.
Perfect. What a great answer. Well, thank you very much, Jamie
Thank you
Johnston,
very much.
for joining us here on SkyHigh Radio.
Thank you very much.
All the best for the future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
SkyHigh Radio. It's about you and the music. SkyHigh Radio.